Hey everyone, today we're going to make a lemon velvet cake. This is sort of a take off of a red velvet cake recipe, but it is actually a lemon flavor, but the cake is really soft and velvety, and I think you're really going to love this one. First, you're going to take a medium-sized mixing bowl and add a half cup of vegetable oil, and you can use canola oil if that's what you have, and then a half teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1.5 cups of buttermilk. And the buttermilk is really what makes this cake texture so velvety and soft. Then you're going to add 1 tablespoon of lemon zest and 2 teaspoons of lemon extract. Now, don't try to use lemon juice instead of the lemon extract. That's not going to give you enough lemon flavor. Then you want to add in a couple of drops of yellow gel concentrated food coloring and then mix everything up really well. You can use liquid food coloring, you just have to use a little bit more if you go that route. So in another mixing bowl, you're going to add 2 2/3 cup of all-purpose flour, and then 1 teaspoon of salt, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, a half teaspoon of baking soda, and then take a whisk and whisk that up really well and set that bowl to the side. Now in a large mixing bowl, you're going to add 2/3 cup of unsalted butter and make sure that it is room temperature. Add 1 2/3 cup of granulated sugar, and then you want to mix this up for several minutes. So you want this to get really light and really fluffy. Just keep it on high and mix it up for several minutes until you can see that the color changes and it starts to look fluffy. So at this point, you're going to add in 3 eggs, but you're going to only add 1 at a time. So add 1 egg and then you can mix it up. Just mix it on medium. You don't want to mix on high here. So just mix it about 20 seconds on medium after each egg. Okay, at this point, you're going to alternately add in the dry and liquid ingredients, and you're going to start with 1/3 of the dry ingredients. So just add that in there, and then once you start to mix this, once you start adding flour into a mixture or adding liquid into a flour mixture, you want to mix on medium. You don't want to mix on high. You can mix on medium or medium high, but you only want to mix it until it's just combined, especially with this alternate mixing method here. So now you're going to add in a half of the liquid. Just add it in, and I'm just putting a splash guard on here. Then remember just to mix on medium until it's well combined. You don't have to keep mixing. The longer you mix scratch cakes, the worse they're going to come out. The texture is going to be rubbery. It won't rise correctly. All kinds of things can happen. So now you're just going to add in another 1/3 of the dry ingredients, and we're going to keep going like this. So remember, just mix it on medium or medium high. Just don't go too high on your speed. Just mix it until it's just combined. And now you're going to add the last half of the liquid ingredients. And just do the same. Just mix it until it is just combined. You don't have to make sure you get every little speck or lump completely smooth. You don't want to do that. That's mixing too long. And remember, I will put a link to the printable recipe in the description below. You can click on that link and get metric measurements and then print it out for yourself. Okay, so the very last part of this is you're going to add in the last of the flour mixture and do just what we did before. Just mix it kind of on a medium speed, and then don't mix too long. Once you see everything incorporated, stop mixing. And then at this point, you always want to scrape down the sides of the bowl. And then I like to scrape down to the bottom because sometimes my little beater attachment doesn't get all the way down there. And then when you mix again, only mix for like 10 seconds or so. Don't mix too long. So now you're going to pour this batter into 2 8-inch greased and floured round cake pans. And the batter's going to be thick. That's okay. It's supposed to be that way. So just try to evenly disperse it between the 2 pans and then smooth out the batter. And then you're going to bake this in a preheated oven at 325 degrees Fahrenheit for about 40 to 45 minutes. So once they're baked, you're going to cool it on a cooling rack just inside of their pans for about 15 to 20 minutes. Just let them sit like this. And then after about 15 to 20 minutes, you can remove them from the pans and let them cool completely on the wire rack. Now, what you have to realize about this cake is that it is very delicate. So be very careful when you remove it from the pan. The texture is really soft and delicate, and you just have to be really careful with it. But let it cool completely on a cooling rack before you try to ever add any frosting to it. Okay, so now we're going to make the frosting, and you're going to add 1 8-ounce block of cream cheese and make sure that it is room temperature, and 1 cup of unsalted butter. That needs to be room temperature as well. So now you're just going to mix this. You can mix it on medium, high, or high. It doesn't matter. You just want to mix those two together until everything is smooth. You don't want any cream cheese lumpiness in your frosting. So I always take the spatula, the silicone spatula, and go around the outside and on the bottom of the bowl, and then mix again just to make sure I got all the little bits all smooth. Now you're going to add in a ½ teaspoon of the lemon extract. We're making lemon cream cheese frosting. If you don't want it lemon, you don't have to add this lemon stuff to it. You're also going to add 1 teaspoon of lemon zest. That gives it a little extra lemon flavor, and then a pinch of salt to cut the sweetness. And then turn the mixer on, mix that up really well. Again, if you just want cream cheese buttercream, you don't have to put the lemon zest or the extract in. It's okay. Just make the cream cheese frosting like this and omit the lemon stuff. But I like a little extra lemon flavor. I think it really works well because the cake is not overly lemon. I think it's the perfect combination of the lemon cream cheese buttercream and the lemon velvet cake. So now I'm just adding in 5 cups of confectioner's sugar, and I don't add it all in at one time because that makes a complete mess in my kitchen. So just add it in parts. It doesn't really matter. You just want to get it in there and get it all mixed well. So you may need to add a teaspoon or so of milk if it's really thick, but probably not because cream cheese buttercream doesn't seem to turn out very thick. And here I'm adding 1 to 2 drops of yellow gel food coloring. This is optional, but I like the yellow color of it. I think it goes really well with the yellow color of the cake. So once the cake layers are cooled, then you can just add your frosting, add a layer of cake to your plate, add a layer of frosting, the second layer of cake, and then cover the whole thing in frosting. And the good thing about these cake layers is that they will bake up kind of flat. So that's nice because when you're sort of building up your cake, then they go together well. It doesn't kind of get wonky. You don't have to slice off the top to make the cake flat. And also make sure to store this cake covered in the fridge because it does have cream cheese frosting on it, and that is perishable, and you don't want to just leave that out indefinitely. And here I just put a nice little texture on my buttercream and added some daisies to the top. I hope you love this one. If whenever you're going to eat this cake, pull it out of the fridge and let it sit there for about 15 to 20 minutes to soften up a little bit, because right when you pull cakes out of the fridge, they're kind of hard because they're firm because they've been chilled. So it's really good to have them sort of sit at room temp just enough to kind of soften up for you. But I hope you love this one as much as I do. Happy cake baking, and I will see you next time.